He shoved her in front of everyone, laughing as if he owned the room. But the moment the Navy SEAL Master Chief stepped through the doorway and saw her face, he froze, snapped to attention, and saluted, leaving the entire Marine barracks in stunned silence. Her name was Alicia Monroe. Most people called her Tiny because she stood only 5'3" and weighed less than most of the packs the Marines carried on deployment. She was the kind of person new recruits underestimated on sight, and she understood that completely. It had happened her whole life. She arrived at Camp Gunner that morning as a quiet transfer. No one knew much about her except that she had come from another branch, and even the few who handled her paperwork found nothing more than a low character profile and basic training history. She walked through the base with a calm, steady presence, her uniform perfectly pressed, her boots shined, her expression unreadable. Around her, loud voices and bootsteps echoed through the hallway. In this place, respect wasn't handed out. It was seized, forged, and proven. She knew that too. Alicia kept her head down and moved toward her assigned quarters, noticing the looks from the younger Marines around her. Some curious, some dismissive, others waiting to see if she could handle the pressure of being new in their territory. It didn't bother her. She had been through worse. Much worse. What no one knew was that Alicia Monroe was anything but a typical transfer soldier. She had completed missions in parts of the world that never made the news. She had trained alongside warriors who rarely spoke their real names. She had survived the kind of battles that would take most people to the edge and leave them broken. But here, she kept her story quiet. Because in this chapter of her life, she didn't need applause. She wanted peace. Still, peace rarely comes easy. It began in the mess hall that afternoon. Alicia entered with her tray, looking for a quiet table. Recruits crowded every corner, shouting, laughing, slamming utensils on tables. Testosterone, competition, and the edge of military pressure filled the air. As she walked past one of the tables, she heard a voice loud enough to make sure everyone around could hear. "Well, look what we got here." A little toy soldier they forgot to put batteries in. Alicia didn't react. She kept walking, but the Marine wasn't done. "Hey, I'm talking to you." His chair scraped the floor, and he stepped in front of her, blocking her path. His name was Corporal Travis Brooks, known for being loud, cocky, and convinced he was already halfway to earning his stripes before he'd done anything worth saluting. He smirked, leaned down toward her face, and spoke with dripping sarcasm. "You even know where you are, sweetheart?" A ripple of laughter followed from the surrounding tables. Alicia stayed calm. "I do," she said softly. "Now step aside." Brooks chuckled. "Oh, she thinks she's tough." Then, for everyone to see, he shoved her shoulder. Not hard enough to seriously hurt someone, just hard enough to make an example. Her tray clattered to the floor. Food splattered across her boots. The room fell silent. Brooks spread his arms theatrically. "Well, what now?" Alicia looked down at the mess on the floor, then slowly raised her eyes to meet his. In that moment, something shifted. Not in her posture, not in her movement, but in the quiet, intense focus that settled in her gaze. The veterans at nearby tables recognized it instantly. The look of someone who had been under fire before. Brooks didn't see it. He was too busy trying to impress his audience. "Cat got your tongue, princess?" She didn't answer. Instead, she spoke with calm, controlled precision. "If I respond to this, you won't like how it ends." Brooks laughed even louder. "Oh, you gonna hit me? Go ahead. Try." The room waited. Seconds stretched. Alicia exhaled slowly, bent down, picked up her tray, set it on the nearest table, then stood tall. The room was still tense, but before anyone could react further, the mess hall doors opened. Bootsteps, heavy, sharp, commanding. A figure walked in broad-shouldered, gray at the temples, eyes sharp as rifle scopes. Every Marine who saw him immediately straightened. Conversations halted mid-sentence. Master Chief Donovan Reeves, a legend, a man who had seen more deployments than most of them had been alive for. He rarely visited the Marine side of the base, But when he did, everyone noticed. Brooks didn't. His back was to the door, too busy grinning at the woman he'd just shoved. But Alicia saw him, and Master Chief Reeves saw her. For a split second, their eyes locked. Recognition hit him like a shot. The entire mess hall watched as the Master Chief's expression changed. This wasn't surprise. It wasn't confusion. It was respect. Deep, unwavering respect. Brooks heard someone clear their throat loudly behind him. He turned, ready to make another joke, and froze at the sight of the Master Chief's uniform ribbons and the authority radiating from every inch of the man. Then it happened. Master Chief Reeves stepped forward, boots firm against the floor, chin raised, and he saluted her. The room exploded in shock. Forks paused midair. Eyes widened. No one breathed. Brooks stood frozen, his face draining of color. Alicia returned the salute in a small, composed motion. The entire room stared, trying to piece together what was happening. Master Chief Reeves spoke with a voice that carried the weight of 20 years of combat. Lieutenant Commander Monroe, I didn't know you had arrived on base. Lieutenant Commander, the Marines looked at each other as the realization hit them. She outranked every single one of them. Even Brooks suddenly became the lowest ranking. Presence in the building. She had been quiet not because she was weak, but because she chose not to use her authority unless necessary. Reeves continued. The Navy still remembers the day you pulled 2 teams out of that collapsed complex in Kuna Province. I read the reports personally. Brooks' lips parted. That mission was the kind troops still whispered about. A building collapsed during a Black Ops retrieval. Dozens trapped. Only one person got everyone out alive. Her. Reeves turned slowly. His eyes locked on to Brooks with a look cold enough to freeze fire. Corporal, he said calmly, did you just put your hands on a superior officer? Brooks swallowed hard. His voice was barely audible. I didn't know. That, Reeves interrupted, is not an excuse in any military on this planet. Silence swallowed the room. Alicia spoke before the situation escalated further. Master Chief, she said softly, I prefer to be treated like any other transfer. Let's not make a scene. Reeves nodded, but his eyes still burned. You earn far more than that. Then he turned to the entire hall. Pay attention. You see this woman? She has carried more lives on her shoulders than most people will ever carry in their entire careers. If she walks into your unit, you do not test her. You learn from her. You look back at Brooks, and maybe, if you're lucky, she doesn't teach you the hard way. Embarrassment, guilt, and realization hit the young corporal with crushing weight. His bravado evaporated completely. He straightened himself and gave the deepest salute he had ever given in his life. Lieutenant Commander. Ma'am, I apologize. Alicia's voice was steady. Apology accepted. Just remember, never assume you understand someone's worth by looking at them. Brooks nodded quickly, unable to meet her eyes. Word spread across the base within hours. Not because Alicia wanted attention, but because every Marine who witnessed that moment walked away with a lesson they would never forget. Some people don't need to speak loudly to prove who they are. Some carry their legacy in silence. Until the world forces it into the light. In the following days, Alicia trained alongside the younger Marines. She corrected their shooting stances, taught them quiet discipline under pressure, and showed them how real strength had nothing to do with mass or volume. Brooks approached her privately later that week. He admitted that her presence humbled him, and that the moment in the mess hall taught him a deeper truth. Respect is not about rank. It's about character, sacrifice, and the battle someone has survived. Alicia simply smiled and told him something she had learned long ago. Out there, nobody asks who you are. They just watch what you do. Over time, she became a mentor, a guide, and a quiet leader whose influence shaped the entire unit. She never raised her voice. She never needed to. Because once people know your story, or even a fraction of it, they start to understand that heroes do not always announce themselves. Some simply walk beside you, unnoticed, until the moment comes when the truth stands taller than any rank. What did this story make you feel? Where are you watching from? Subscribe to Soul Relief Stories for more real stories that heal the heart.